Hi there, this is Tracy at Natural Horse New Zealand. I'm just going to follow on with some more information about laminitis in a new video today. I firstly wanted to say thank you very much for everybody's support. I've received hundreds of messages, phone calls, texts, emails from loads of people from all over the place telling me that they really enjoyed my last video. So thank you very much. I've received a little bit of hate mail, but I'm alright with that. I don't care if it's helping horses. And forgive me, but I'm trying to have my biscuit and my cup of tea because it's my lunch break and I'm trying to fit everything in. So anyway, today I'm going to talk about hooves. So how hooves are affected by laminitis. And the first thing I want to get out of the way is the trim. Now, there's a lot of talk about trims creating laminitis, and it's not something that I've seen, to be honest. I've been working with laminitic horses now for 21 years. And in that time, I've helped thousands of horses to recover from laminitis. I've not seen any of them really, to be honest, suffer with laminitis due to a bad trim. And I've seen some less than ideal trims, and I'm a barefoot trimmer myself. I do my own horses and I help people in the community get their horses' hooves right. But I've never seen it with trims. The main reason that I see laminitis, as I've explained before, is what the horse eats, what he puts in his mouth rather than how his hooves are. The other thing that I want to make sure that everybody understands is I've seen some people who've got horses with fantastic feet, wonderful feet, hard, naturally tough, strong feet, and they've still got laminitis. So just bear that in mind, okay? Now, one of the things that you'll be up against if you are going to try and rehab a horse with laminitis is fighting off your vet normally not to put metal shoes on your horse. I spend a huge amount of time fighting vets with my clients because that's all they know. Now, it's not to say there's some fantastic vets out there, and I've got the utmost respect for the veterinary profession, but unfortunately I do see they're very outdated, are a lot of vets, with the information they provide regarding laminitis. They want to shoe your horse. My own vet said to me 21 years ago when I had my first laminitic horse that if I didn't shoe him, he was going to be back to put him to sleep within a couple of days. And I was absolutely distraught. I didn't know what to think. I went inside crying. I was unsure on what to do. I'd only just gone barefoot for the first time, and my trimmer was telling me one thing and my vet was telling me the other, and I was sandwiched in the middle, didn't know what to do. And I said to my husband, who's an architectural draftsman, who's not a horseman at all, but I said, I don't know what to do, Stu. The vet's saying this, the barefoot trimmer's saying this, and he said, well, his 10 pence worth, his effort was that as an architectural draftsman, he was aware that buildings used to be made with reinforced concrete around the foundations, some of these like multi-storey buildings, to prevent them from earthquake damage. And all of those earthquake damaged buildings are on the floor now, in the majority of them, because they've crumbled and cracked and broke when we've had earthquakes. And what they do now in modern architecture is they put rubber skirts around the bottom of these big buildings so that the building has got flexibility and will move with the earthquake. And that really sealed the deal for me, because that's exactly what's happening with a horse when they've got laminitis. Any horse, whether they've got laminitis or not, if they're in a metal shoe, that's a lot of concussive forces coming from the ground up through the joints of the horse's hoof. So that's one of the reasons I will never shoe a horse. The second is circulation. I've done a lot of study, taken thermal images of horses' hooves with shoes on and without shoes on, with boots on, barefoot, every possible scenario you can think of. And the proof has been in the pudding with the thermal image cameras showing that legs are much colder with much less circulation when they're shod. And the reason for that is they're fixed, they're static. And the hoof is not a static, it's not a wooden thing, this is a wooden fake hoof. It's not like your horse's hoof. Your horse's hoof is a living organ, and it does move and it flexes, okay? And there's a lot of sensory information coming from the sole of the hoof. The horse lands on his heel and he decides on how much weight he's going to put on that heel, just the same as us when we're taking a step. And he walks through his frog, So the frog goes across the ground, that pumps blood up and helps with circulation and feel. And then he pushes off the toe, which we call the breakaway or the breakover. And that's how the hoof works. When you put a metal shoe on that hoof, all that stops. It's like plodding around in hobnail boots with broken toes, people, okay? It's not good for the horse. Now, 2,000 years ago plus, when we started putting horseshoes on horses, we didn't know any of this. The Romans didn't have thermal imaging and MRIs to look at the internal structures of the hoof, but we do. So don't be using 50 and 60-year-old technology for your horse to recover from laminitis. Use hoof boots. They are way better, people, okay? They are flexible, they are comforting, they're cushioning, they're padded, they move with the hoof, and there's some really good ones out these days. This is my favourite at the moment. This is a new boot that's out by Scoot Boots called the Thera Ride, and this has got this wonderful honeycomb pad built into it. Look at how flexible it is. You know, if I was a horse and I was in agony with my feet, with laminitis, this is what I would want to be wearing, okay? Cushioned, padded boots that can be used for therapeutic purposes such as laminitis recovery, as well as riding. So I love these, I absolutely do. And there's loads of different boots. We've got this closed-in type boot. This is called the Cavallo Trek. It's got a breathable material all the way around it. Super easy to put on and off. All-terrain sole. We've got this Explorer hoof boot. They're really good. They're from Europe. Brilliant. We love them. We've got massive hoof boots for big draft horses. My own mare, Cleo, she's called. She's a big Percheron Cross Clydesdale. She had a horrible medical emergency a few years ago, and she had shattered all around her coffin bone because of a condition called side bone, which is lots of tiny little fusion breaks all the way inside that coffin bone. My vet really tried to persuade me to go for heart bar shoes, and I refused. I refused because of the research that I've done, and I put her in hoof boots. She was in hoof boots for 6 weeks. She made a full recovery, and she's never had a single day of lameness in her life since. And that is typical of the things that I see and the results that I see from using hoof boots. So I can highly recommend hoof boots. You can get pads to go inside them, various sizes. You can get pads straps that will go around the hoof to prevent any rubbing if you're going to be doing a lot of mileage or your horse is going to be living in them. They're a wonderful product to hoof boots, and I cannot recommend them enough. If you want to learn more about hoof boots, go onto our website and have a look, www.naturalhorse.co.nz. The other good thing about hoof boots is when you finish riding your horse, he can take his boots off. You can't do that with a shoe. So that means if you ride, say, 2 hours a day, which is excessive for most people, for 22 hours a day, your horse is in his paddock enjoying a barefoot natural lifestyle. And that's really healthy for the hoof. I'm sure when you come home from work, the first thing you do is kick your shoes off. That's what should be happening for your horse as well. The other thing is the finances. Putting metal shoes on a horse every 4 weeks, every 6 weeks, is about $160 to $180 here in New Zealand, roughly. If you buy hoof boots, you might pay $650 for 4 hoof boots, but they're going to last you for between 2 and 3 years. Yes, you're still going to have your horse trimmed, but it's going to be much cheaper, somewhere in the region of between $40 and $80 a trim here in New Zealand, depending on which part of the country you're in. But think of the finances that you're going to save over that time, as well as the health benefits that your horse is going to benefit from. Anyway, if you're going to rehabilitate a horse with laminitis, that's definitely what I would be recommending. Don't follow the trend and go for metal shoes. Go for rubber, cushioned, flexible hoof boots. Okay, I'll leave that with you. Bye.